In this video, we're going to go over how to quote a policy using Solaris. And at the end, we're going to go over how to quote a policy using the Assist Card website. Um, so let's go ahead and get started here. You want to go and access the scope of support for StarTravel so that you can get the link for Solaris. Um, The link is right here on Scope. You want to click on that. You will be provided a username and password if you do not already have one. This will be unique to you because every quote that you do will have your name stamped on it. Just as if like a licensed agent goes to sell the policy, their name will be stamped on that policy that they issued it. So let's go ahead. We'll get logged in here. It's pretty simple and straightforward. The main thing you want to watch out for is that you are quoting the correct company correctly. Okay. So before we get started, there is one thing I want to make you guys aware of. You will be getting calls from people that want to purchase policies from the website. You may also get a call from an agent or an agency, and they may need you to do the quote or bind the policy for them. We want to make sure that we are binding the policy or quoting in that agency's and agent's name. If you have any questions about the agency and their appointment with Star, you can go here. We have the agency producer codes. Okay, so this is every single agency that Star has appointed to sell their policies. Here is their agency code. So this would be used if the consumer was going to the direct to consumer website. And right here, there's an agent code. That would be where we input that agency's code. So they would get commissions for the policy that they sell. Um, we will circle back to that in a moment, but let's go ahead and move forward here. Let me go ahead and get this closed out and that. All right. So to start a quote, you're going to go to get a quote at the top. All right, so it is very important that we use the correct information when you're quoting, okay? So you see here, each scope will have what you should select in the MGA name. So for Star, we would put Star and then Insure Response LLC, and for the agent name, Insure Response LLC. So let me get that pulled up. There we go. Star. You see it autofill what we should be using. Just double check that information as you see that information. I'm gonna have to get scope updated because it says Insure Response LLC and not the agent. Anyways, moving forward, we would need to know next the state of residence that the insured resides in. Remember, they must be a resident of the United States. Resident and citizen are two different things. A resident has an address in the United States and resides here. They may even be on a visa. A citizen was born in the United States. We can sell to both. So with this one, I'm just going to say South Carolina because that's where I'm from. Uh, and next it's going to ask for the plan details. So this is going to come in handy if you have someone who already knows what they want, but they may not. If there's any questions about, oh, what plan offers what, you can click on the plan details, and it just kind of gives you a snapshot of the different coverages each plan offers. Some coverages may not be offered by a specific plan. That's why that information is blank. Um, it is going to also show you the different policies for all of the aggregators. Just keep in mind, if it is a StarTravel company, then they cannot buy a Himondo policy. They would have to call the Heymondo number and then purchase it that way, just like with John Hancock. If you have someone that calls in and they're on the Star line, and let's say you guys have went through the Premier and all of that, we cannot offer a product, say the Classic Plus here. Those are the Star plans. We can't go and offer one of the plans that John Hancock provides, like the bronze, silver, or gold, to a Star customer. No cross selling. So make sure that you are referencing the correct plans based off of the particular phone call you have. So with that being said, we have the Classic Plus, and you can let them know it's 100% of your trip cost. Go down. Our job is to educate them on the policy and give them a quote if they wish to purchase. Then we would get it over to a licensed agent who can complete that purchase for them. We're going to say this is a single trip plan. The majority of the policy plans that we offer are single trip. Um, and that's normally what people are after insuring. And they have some, like say, business people who travel for work that, or even say, a retired person who does a lot of traveling during their retirement. They may want to get a policy that'll last them all year. The stipulation is trips still cannot exceed 90 days, even though you have an annual policy. They cannot exceed 90 days. And the big difference is the annual policies do not include coverages like trip cancellation. So if the trip gets canceled for what would normally be covered under a single trip plan, for one of the unforeseen events for trip cancellation, if they were to purchase annual, they would not receive that. So make sure you are clear up front with the caller whenever you are quoting them, okay? So let's just say I'm going to go with the Classic Plus, and we're going to be going to Aruba. That sounds fun. All right, and the scheduled departure date will be the date the caller or the insured will be leaving to go on their trip. Let's go the first of the year. You can use the calendar or type it in. Either way, you pretty much get the same result. All right, so we got the scheduled departure date as September 1st, 2025, and they will be back on September the 30th, 2025. All right, so the initial trip deposit date is the day that they put the first dollar down on their trip to reserve it. Um, this is what they must be within the 14 days of to be eligible for CFAR, and also um, for the pre-existing conditions waiver to be included. If not, then they are not within the 14 days. They would not be eligible for either. Let's say, you see here, I would have had to make my trip deposit on or before today. That's why the other days are grayed out. Now, if I select the first, and try to include, oops, there we go. Calculate. You see, it will let you know you cannot add this. It's more than 14 days. It will not let you continue. You will have to exclude it and recalculate the cost. Now, CFAR would be for an additional 50% of premium. Um, if the caller has any questions about how the policy is rated, we base the policy premium off of the traveler's age and the amount of their trip. The destination has nothing to do with the way these policies are rated. Um, just keep that in mind whenever you are quoting insureds. Also, if an insured said they got a quote from one of our vendor websites, then uh, if the prices are different, we can only honor the prices that are on our websites. If they wish to get it for that rate, they will need to reach out to that website and purchase through them. I can tell you though, likely once they go to purchase, the price is going to increase to the equivalent of the quote that you were probably going to be providing them. Um, but so with this being said, I do not qualify for CFAR because I'm outside of my 14 days. But let's say that I do. Let's go ahead and switch that to, let's say I made my deposit on September 1st. And I do want to include CFAR, recalculate. Right now the premium is $65. It went up to $97. So that's an additional 50%. So you take that 65, divide that in half, and then add it to the premium. So 65 plus half of 65. I believe I'm going to get that canceled for any reason because I may wake up and change my mind and decide that I don't want to go. So I'm going to go ahead and save and continue. I'll pay the $97 for $1,000 worth of coverage. I think that's a pretty good deal, especially if I can just wake up, change my mind, and decide I don't want to go. So the next thing you want to do is after you save and continue is we need to get the traveler's details filled out. Do not leave this blank. This must be filled in on every single quote that we do. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get that all filled in. It's got my date of birth. I don't want to use my real address. All right, and then Newberry, South Carolina. All right, then I got my contact number. I don't want them to send me any emails. So after you get all of the details filled out, you're going to need their first, last name, their address, their phone number, and their email address so that you can send them a copy of this quote, save that information, and then you can go over here to the left and email the quote to the insured. You will have to type the email address in, so you would just enter the address they provide you. And put a typo in there. All right, and then you would just do send. There you go. They have successfully been emailed the quote that you just did for them. Now, every time you provide a quote to a caller, we need to make sure that we are also providing them their batch number In the event they call back and want to purchase the policy, they will need this VAT number in order to get everything pulled up. Yes, we can search by first name or last name, but the easiest way to do it is to pull them up using the batch number. Okay, so let's say that's pretty much the end. You've emailed the quote, let them know that if they have any questions, they can give us a call back. We're open 7 to 10, Monday through Friday, and we can assist them with any other questions they may have about the policy. But on the flip side, let's say you get someone call in and they're like, hey, I was given a quote earlier and I'm ready to purchase. How do you get that quote pulled up? I'm going to show you. All right, get logged back in here. So instead of doing find and then policy, we're going to do find and then quote. So if you're looking for a specific policy that's already been issued, you go to policy. If it has not, we're going to go to quote. All right, so you would enter the batch number that the previous agent provided that caller and hit find quote. All right, there it is. Tyler McDaniel for his trip to Aruba, leaving out September 1st of next year. And we would just click it to append to it. And then we would see if we can get an agent to bind this policy for us. If there's ever any question about who is licensed in what state, you can go to that company scope. On the left, click on the agent licensing guide. And here's a list of all of our licensed agents. And on the left is a list of each scope. If an agent has an X beside that state under their name, that means that they are licensed in that state and can issue the policy for you. If there is not an X, then they are not licensed in that state, and you would need to go through the setting up of a callback process. And one of our licensed agents that is licensed in that particular state will reach back out and issue the policy to the caller. But so that's how you pull up an existing quote if you have someone giving you a call and they want to purchase it. I do want to circle back to something I said earlier uh, about selecting the correct MGA. So let's say I have a John Hancock caller who wants to get a quote. I need to go to the John Hancock scope, and here's what we select for the MGA, John Hancock, and for the agent name and agency name is going to be Insure Response. So JHIA is short for John Hancock. And you see the other just kind of auto fills. Always double check it to make sure that it is correct and matches what we have in scope for each agency and aggregator. All right, so we would just go through the same process. Let's say I live in Delaware, and then the different plans that John Hancock offers are available: bronze, silver, and gold. Just like with Star, you can click on the plan details if you want to know more about the aggregate limits and how much coverage they would get for trip cancellation and trip interruption, things like that. It will be listed right here. Now, like I was saying before, this is if you're doing DTC. Let's say you have an agent on the line that is from a different agency and they need you to write the quote in their name. This is where we would select that agency. So let's say it's Expedia Cruises. We would select that there. And who's on your phone? Joseph or Joanne Fleming. That's who it is. And she's trying to help them get this plan for their trip to, let's say, Canada, to see the Northern Lights or something. Just make sure that when you do have an agent or an agency on the line that you're assisting with a quote, you are quoting it under that agent or agency's name, okay? Um, Not under the DTC Insure Response Agent. All right, so that pretty much sums it up on how to quote in Solaris. Again, like with the Clements Hey Mondo policies, theirs will be listed under Star. Okay, and here's what we select for those. Star for the agency name, Clements Hey Mondo, agent name, DTC agent. So, oops, Clements Hey Mondo, and there we go. Oh, wait. Yeah, okay. Did do it right. Just wanted to make sure. That's why I said always double check and make sure that you are quoting the correct way. Now, one company we do things a little bit different for is AssistCard. That is another one of Star's aggregators. The process of quoting an AssistCard policy is a bit different than the others. So let me get their scope pulled up here. Okay, so we would quote AssistCard callers on the AssistCard website. Once we do the quote there, we would then pull the quote over to Solaris and bind it in the Solaris website. I can show you how we do that. So you click on the AssistCard website here from Scope and select the caller state. Let's say they're in Georgia. The plan type, they're looking for a single trip or annual plan or just maybe an air ticket protector. We're going to go with the single trip for now, and we will do get a quote. All right, so here we're going to be selecting their departure and return dates. Going to take a short trip. We'll put the money down on the 2nd, let's say. And we're just going to go to Hong Kong for the night. Let's see how that goes. All right. And most importantly, of course, the traveler's age and trip cost, because that is how we rate the policy. Trip cost, age of the traveler, and the amount of days. Anything between 1 day and 30 days is going to be the same. Each additional day after day 30 is going to be an additional $5 per traveler. Let's say it's going to cost me $2,000 to get there. Go ahead and let me see the plans that are available. All right, so it's going to let you know that they got the Classic Plus and the Premier, and you would want to review these two options with your caller. Sometimes they already know what they want, but if they don't, our job is to help them compare and contrast the two plans and assist them with picking the best one. Like I was saying earlier, you wouldn't want to recommend an annual policy to someone who is worried about losing their money if the trip gets canceled, because annual policies do not include trip cancellation. But let's say that they do figure it out. They know what they want. We select Classic Plus. All right. So right here is going to be what you need to pull the quote over to Solaris. You're going to need the quote ID from the top of the AssistCard website. So you want to highlight that and copy it. And let's go over to Solaris. And we're going to do find and then customer. So that's a little bit different. We normally do get a quote or find and then quote or find and then policy. But for a SIS card, you do find and then click customer. At the very top, there's going to be a spot for the quote ID. You want to go ahead and enter the quote ID from the Assist Card website in that field and click Find Customer. There's my quote right there. Click on the blue quote ID and business as usual from here. You would go ahead, got the trip costs, you've got their date of birth. Always confirm the date of birth. You see that it put my birthday as January 1st. All Assist Card is going to do that. You have to change the birthday. If you don't, the policy could be issued for an incorrect amount because it is rated based off of these two things, okay? And that would be a big argument with the caller once we've issued a policy for, say, $50, and then we turn around and say, oh, well, this is actually going to be $200 because we didn't get your birthday right. That could be really upsetting to a caller. So we want to make sure we avoid that by checking the birth date. All right, so, and this would be the optional cancel for any reason. Cancel for any reason is a coverage that's offered across the board to all of the aggregators. And then we would calculate that amount. You already know the amount because you've seen it on the website. It already told you. So the majority of things that we're just doing here is binding the policy. So it sees that I didn't pick a policy. I'm gonna go ahead and go with Classic Plus, and we're gonna go to Barbados. Okay, now exclude and calculate. There we go. So my trip to Barbados without cancel for any reason is going to cost me $108 to insure. Now that would cover any kind of, the unforeseen events that are outlined in the policy. If they need you to email this quote, you would go about it the same way. Save and continue. Fill out their details here. And just for the sake of time, I'm going to let it autofill that. And then okay, and then we're gonna save. Oops. Oh, ooh. You see, I selected Georgia, and then it let me know that that was the wrong state. So what we would do then is fix that. But just like with John Hancock or Star, if they want the quote emailed to them, they can email the quote. I mean, you can email the quote to them, put their email address that they give you into the to field. If you want to send a copy to someone else, you could do them in the CC and just click on send. At that point, they'll get a email and they'll have all of the details. It'll have a copy of the policy that they were going to be purchasing and a copy of that quote. Now, again, just like on all other calls, you want to make sure you provide that caller with the BAT number. So in the event that they do call back because they want to purchase, they will have that to give to the next agent, and that agent would be able to pull up their policy. So that pretty much wraps up the quoting for John Hancock, Star, Clements Mondo, and Assist Card. The main thing is Assist Card is done on the Assist Card website and then pulled over to Solaris. And again, with the other aggregators, you want to make sure that you're using the correct MGA, agency name, and that specific agent if you have an agent on your phone. If you have any questions about any of it, ask a lead or supervisor. We'll be more than happy to help you. And happy quoting.